tonight I want to address some of the key controversies that are still out there. Some of people's concerns have grown out of bogus claims spread by those whose only agenda is to kill reform at any cost. The best example is the claim made not just by radio and cable talk show hosts, but by prominent politicians, that we plan to set up panels of bureaucrats with the power to kill off senior citizens. Now, such a charge would be laughable if it weren't so cynical and irresponsible. It is a lie, plain and simple. There are also those who claim that our reform efforts would ensure illegal immigrants. This, too, is false. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true. And one more misunderstanding I want to clear up. Under our plan, no federal dollars will be used to fund abortions, and federal conscience laws will remain in place. I will not waste time with those who have made the calculation that it's better politics to kill this plan than to improve it. I won't stand by while the special interests use the same old tactics to keep things exactly the way they are. If you misrepresent what's in this plan, we will call you out. And I will not accept the status quo as a solution. Not this time. Not now.
Great! You are in over your head, gentlemen. But our winner, and speaking of that, Congressman Joe Wilson of South Carolina, not only interrupting the President of the United States during his joint address to Congress and to the nation on this extraordinarily important subject, but interrupting the President of the United States to call him, before the eyes of the world, a liar. It is bad enough that Mr. Wilson was factually wrong. Mr. Obama was not lying when he said health care reform will not pay to cover illegal immigrants. That's why Section 246 of the bill is called No Federal Payment for Undocumented Aliens. Bad enough that Mr. Wilson lowered the level of discourse at a moment when the country hungers for a higher level of discourse, except that moron Karl Rove, who laughed at this on Fox and thought it was really funny that Wilson said it. But it also turns out that Mr. Wilson is himself not telling the truth here, not merely about the immigrants, but about, yes, the lie that Mr. Obama called out, death panels. An op-ed column he wrote on August 27th, Wilson wrote that reimbursing doctors for counseling patients at the end of their lives, quote, has been correctly highlighted by former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin as a program which could lead to seniors being encouraged to seek less care in order to protect the government's bottom line. No, sir. Nothing in that bill leads American doctors to encourage seniors to seek less care. As even Republicans have affirmed, end-of-life counseling leads to better care and patients who are less anxious, less scared, less confused. In other words, Mr. Wilson, you lie. Congressman Joe Wilson of South Carolina, today's worst person in the world in a landslide.
Congressman. Yes. What's the leadership said to you this morning?
Well, I last night heard from the leadership that they wanted me to contact the White House and state that my statements were inappropriate. I did. I'm very grateful that the White House, in talking with them, they indicated that they appreciated the call and that we needed to have a civil discussion about the health care issues, and I certainly agree with that. And so I'm happy to discuss the health care issues, and in particular on the issue, which I think is very important, of whether the bills cover would include illegal aliens or not. My background in that is that I was aware that there were two different amendments on the bill which would have provided for verification of persons having citizenship. One was in the Ways and Means Committee, one was on the Energy and Commerce Committee, and both of those were defeated overwhelmingly. They were almost party line votes. On one of the amendments, several Democrats actually voted with us. Also, the Congressional Resource Services has indicated that indeed the bills that are before Congress would include illegal aliens. And I think this is wrong. We need to be discussing issues specifically to help the American people. And that would not include illegal aliens. These are people, I'm for immigration, legal immigration. I've been an immigration attorney. But people who have come to our country and violated laws, we should not be providing full health care services.
And we had talk on the internet that you tweeted something that was almost this was premeditated. How do you respond to that? Because your tweet did seem to say, I'm going to D.C. and respond to that, or that's how do you respond to that?
I will tell you this, that it was spontaneous. It was when he stated, as he did, about not covering illegal aliens, when I knew we'd had those two amendments. And I say that respectfully, and we need to discuss the issues, and I'm happy to do that, and I'm going to go vote.
Do you feel you've become a detriment to your party, sir? Who do you have tonight, Clemson or Georgia Tech?
As you can see, that's Congressman Joe Wilson. He is the South Carolina lawmaker who yelled, "You lie," to the president when the president said that health care plans or his reform proposal would not cover those who are in this country illegally. Joe Wilson saying that the House leadership contacted him, told him it was inappropriate what happened during the president's address. He contacted the White House. They, too, accepted his call, said they were grateful that he called, and that the White House indicated they wanted a civil conversation here. He was also asked, apparently, and we're trying to get the information on what he tweeted. Apparently, he tweeted something, and it implied that perhaps his reaction was premeditated. He says it was a spontaneous reaction. However, all of the members of Congress had a copy of the president's address available for them to read, so some question how spontaneous it was. But there's also been a number of fact checkers who said that Congressman Wilson is wrong, that there was nothing to indicate.
Yeah. Well, in fact, when he was told to call the White House, he had to talk with Rahm Emanuel, the White House Chief of Staff, and that certainly could not have been easy. You can about imagine how much he wanted to hear this kind of discourse. And what he said, as you're saying, we can agree to disagree, and we can have interesting discussion about this, but we have to do it with the proper discussion tactics. And this was absolutely not one. But Rahm Emanuel said, okay.
And almost instantly, John McCain, just one of the many Republicans who came out and admonished late last night, right after he was interviewed, and John McCain said that it was completely inappropriate.